Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to be doing another book review, and today's book review is on the book The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by C.M. Waggoner. At least I believe that's how you say that last name, would be Waggoner. Let's go ahead and jump right into the review. I have some kind of mixed feelings about this book. And that is because usually when I read a book, my personal feelings and my objective feelings more connect together and point me to the same direction of whether I want to recommend it, don't want to recommend it, how much I recommend it, and my thoughts on it. But this particular book has me kind of at this weird place where there's some things that I like about it, and then there's some things that I don't like about it, but I feel like it's more of a personal dislike than actually it being a bad book. So objectively, I feel like this book can be recommended, but it wasn't for me personally. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I like, I'm going to tell you what I don't like, and what I feel more objectively about it, and then you can decide whether you would like to check out this book or not. So first, what did I like? I really like the magical system in this book. It's very interesting and unique. It has a lot of kind of complexity to it, even though Waggoner doesn't specifically say this is how magic works, this is, how much it's in the society and that kind of stuff. She doesn't really point anything out, but you can see it clearly as, we get the details about it, as, our characters use it, make comments about the magic or whatever. You really get a clear view of what the magic system is in this world. There's a school that you can go to learn at, that people learn at sometimes. They have different parameters, and it's very more of a scientific type magical system, and they can do some more science-based stuff with the magic. So I think that really is super cool aspect, something that's a bit more unique, interesting. So I really like the magic system that was created for this book, and this world that the characters are in is super interesting. Really, really like that. And if that's something that really interests you, I feel like that is a really strong point about this book. I also really like the chapter titles. They are actually pretty great because they're longer chapter titles. And most books that I read have like 1 or 2 word chapter titles, or like a very short phrase at the most, but meaning like it's a phrase that can be done in just a couple of words, or they have no chapter title at all and it's just a number. But this particular book has lots of long chapter titles that really give details about what's going to happen in the chapter, as well as having personality and adding extra feeling to the book. Some of these chapter titles I laughed out loud about, or thought that they were very clever or something. So I actually had more of an emotional attachment to these chapter titles than I did about some of the events in the book. So definitely love the chapter titles, and hope that I see more books in the future with more of these longer personal type beginnings for a chapter. I mean, yes, it does kind of tell you, it doesn't ruin anything, like every chapter title doesn't say specifically what's going to be in the chapter, but it gives you a bit more detail about what you're going to find in that chapter, and usually in a clever way that adds a lot of personality to the book and to the plot. And last but not least, I'd like to mention the writing style. For the most part, I really liked this writing style. It is, Waggoner has a very clear, easy to read, kind of draws you in kind of writing style that I think is really, really important for anybody who wants to read a book that's this kind of caliber. It's not a too serious book. It's not like a really serious high fantasy epic adventure kind of one. It's more of a simple story, but she has this really nice, easy, suck you in by wanting to know more kind of writing style, if you get what I mean by that. The only thing that I kind of want to transition here with this writing style is kind of to what I didn't totally connect with or didn't like as much. And with the writing style, I really liked the actual style of writing, but I did have a harder time because it's meant to be a historical setting. I didn't really love the historical words and phrases that were kind of added in there. It took me quite a while to get used to the way of like the character thinks, because obviously the narrator is writing with the personality characteristics of our main character, Delaria Wells. And I get the point of why the historical kind of talk was brought in, because it is a historical setting. It adds that personality, but for me personally, it was hard to connect with those times when they're more heavy in the narration. So for me, the historical kind of style and language was a little bit harder, even though I really like the actual writing style. It's very clear, very concise. You can totally understand it. It was more of the phrases used to portray this historical setting that was a little bit harder for me. And eventually it did become more of a smoother read, but at first it was very much a struggle through like the first 3 or 4 chapters. So keep in mind that if you're not used to the historical settings, or if that's not really your thing, that you might not like that as much, just like it didn't connect with me, especially at the very beginning. Next thing about what I didn't like or had a hard time with was the characters. There are several characters that are big characters. We have our one main character, Delaria Wells. And in general, I didn't connect with really any of the characters. I had a hard time understanding most of their motivations. I never really got a feel of like me actually understanding like, yes, this person is this kind of person. And with Deli, a lot of times she goes by Deli, as being our main character, I just didn't really like her as the main character. She's somebody who is an underdog, yes, and I don't feel like that's any problem, but I don't feel like she's really that great of a person. And I don't feel like she matures into a better person throughout this story. And I just feel like she does a lot of things that are meant to make herself look better and trying to come off as a better person than she is, because she wants to have a romance with this woman that she met named Wynn. And so for me, I just had a hard time connecting to the main character and to any of the characters really that are prominent in this story. And for me, characters are a big draw. Characters really connect me to the story, really connect me to the book. So if I don't have a character I really love, I'm kind of wishy-washy about the book. And that's how I felt about this book, was I didn't really care for the fact that I couldn't connect to the characters, and it made it a hard time for me to enjoy the story. Not that they are written poorly, I just think they're not the kind of characters that I enjoy. So I don't think, again, this is where I have this kind of like mixed feeling about it, is I feel like other characters or other readers, sorry, not other characters, other readers could enjoy the characters in this book. It just wasn't for me. And that made it a hard time for me personally to enjoy the book. So they're definitely written well. I definitely feel like they have development and are, really good fleshed out characters. They just didn't connect well with me. And then I also didn't connect well with the romance. So between Wynn and Deli, they're falling in love, kind of. And it seems like for a lot of the story, Deli doesn't have the most innocent of reasons for trying to be with Wynn. Wynn is a more upper class person and has a lot of money, more of a rich family kind of deal. And it seems like a lot of the story, the romance, is more tied to Deli wanting to have a rich caregiver or rich woman, because she's very poor and wants to get more of her status. And so I just didn't feel like I connected to the romance. I didn't really understand why the romantic interest, Wynn, even really liked Deli. I didn't really understand Deli's view and her progression through the romance. So it just didn't totally connect with me personally. I think that other readers might not have that same problem, especially if they don't mind the main character, which, like I said, was a bigger problem for me and made it harder for me to enjoy this book. So overall, do I feel like I recommend it or not? Again, I can't totally say I personally recommend it since it wasn't for me, but I do feel like other readers might enjoy it. So I kind of feel like I can't totally say a yes or no, but I do feel like, even though it wasn't for me, the book is well organized. It is well written. It does have an interesting plot, and it does have some cool, interesting fantasy elements that could be enjoyed by another reader. So I think if you feel like the historical setting might be something that you enjoy, if you're interested in kind of the magic system I talked about, and if you are not quite so, if you think that the characters being more manipulative based motivations is not something that bothers you, or you think that that might be something interesting to read about, I say go ahead and go for it. I do think you will find it a well written book and a good story on the surface level. It'll just depend on how well you connect with the characters personally and stuff like that. So that's what I say on C.M. Waggoner's book, The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry. Hopefully this helps you know if you'd like to give it a try or not, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.